Welcome to Yahoo Finance Live. I'm Seana Smith along with Akiko Fujita in studio in New York. Welcome back. It's great to have you here. So let's get you everyone up to speed on this market action because we've been looking at a mixed day. We're now looking at the Dow and S&P both in negative territory. The S&P falling back into the red after briefly touching a 9-month high. The Nasdaq, though, barely holding on to gains. The big story, though, of this afternoon, let's get right to it, and that's the latest coming out of Apple. Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference kicking off earlier this afternoon. We got a couple of big announcements here from the tech giant, and among them was this long-awaited headset that we're looking at right now on the screen. Lots of skepticism from some on the street and also I think from consumers about whether or not this was going to live up to the hype. This one called the Vision Pro. Akiko, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about it enough, right? We finally got to see it, but in many ways, this is, at least most are hoping, Apple's definitely hoping that this is going to be the big bet that allows Apple to move beyond just the iPhones and the iPads. And you could argue, because it's a mixed reality headset, not like the VR headsets we see from somebody like Meta, it does allow you to integrate reality and maybe allows for a stepping stone into full virtual reality. You think about what Apple has, their long list of products. It has the overlays with the apps. It allows you to communicate maybe potentially through FaceTime. I mean, there's a number of things that they unveiled here that, at least for me, seems to make sense. But to the point you made off camera, it's still really bulky. And you have to wonder how much people are going to take to it with the size as well as the cost.
Yeah, exactly. And I think cost is huge. And to that point, it was interesting to me that within this announcement, there's been some talk just about Apple emphasizing business uses. And I think that's key just in terms of this potential success of this product, given the fact that we are expecting this to cost so much. I still have lots of questions about how popular this is going to be among consumers. One, given the price tag, obviously, but two, just the comfort level and how open people will be to using a product like this. We know others, like Meta, for example, has not been successful with its headsets. If any company, though, is going to do it and make it quote unquote cool, it's going to be Apple. So they do have that going for it. One of my favorite parts of this part of the presentation when we were talking about the headset was how it could be used when you're watching games, when you're watching sports. And that's really one of the areas that I think could potentially revolutionize the user experience as well as also the entertainment industry as well with Disney.
Well, and we heard Tim Cook say specifically it's the first Apple product you can look through and not at. And we do have a price tag here right there. $34.99. We're talking about $3,500, and that's going to be the real test for Apple. How many people are, willing to shell out that kind of money? It is about the content, though. As we've seen, at least with VR headsets that have been released from the likes of Meta, the content hasn't necessarily followed. You'd imagine with Apple, with all the products, with everything they have in place, this is the way that they can at least make it a little more mainstream.
Yeah, I think they will be able to make it a little bit more mainstream, and also with Iger there on the stage talking about Disney, the partnership with Apple, how that is going to really be something that most people can relate to. It's just one of the ways that Apple is so good at something like this and could potentially be convincing people out there to spend $3,500 on the device.
Yeah, and of course we're going to be watching the stock reaction on the back of that too, because we did see Apple hit a record high ahead of the event, giving back some of those gains, and it is now down about 0.5%.